Welcome back to BaldHeaded Metal, and welcome back, Meshuggah fans. As you guys see, I did Catch 33, the full album reaction. I had a very mixed reaction to the album because I kind of came away saying that I don't think it was the right album for me to jump into because it looked like it was the most experimental and the most kind of weird outputting from the band. And as a fan that's already a little bit hesitant about the band, but just so curious and wanting to get into Meshuggah because there are songs that I really love. Actually, on this album that I'll be doing, Obzen, which I'm going to react to a full album reaction today, I really like Bleed. So I told myself, since I really like that song, perhaps I'm going to like the style of the album, and a lot of you really supported that idea. I don't mind that it's going to have this kind of monotone thing, as long as they have interesting riffs or like rhythms like Bleed has. Again, I'm coming in with this kind of stubborn mentality that I want to get into this band, and I know it's going to take hard work and just me getting into it multiple times, almost like a very obscure movie or as if like a deep philosophical movie that doesn't just strike you automatically. It sits with you with time as you ponder about it, and then it really resonates. So with that in mind, let's get into the album. Let's see what we're all about. But I'm still, guys, going to be 100% honest on how I feel. If there's something I don't like, it just I don't jive with, I am going to express it in the most kind of articulate manner that I can so you can understand where I'm coming from. Now, let's start with the first song, Combustion. Let's go. What I was doing here on the side, you see me looking the way, I'm setting up the lyrics so I can see what each song is about. I thought I should have done it on the next one, on the last album that I've done, but now I'll have the lyrics with me as well. So far, again, I like the production, like the sound. I'm kind of on board. Let's just see what they offer here. I really like this, holy shit. And I really like his vocal performance on this album. The lyrics, so far, I can't tell you what they are about because there's a sort of like poetic artistry to it where it's not a matter of fact kind of a lyric, you know, like, hey, this happened and you shouldn't do this, or this kind of thing. There's more emotion behind it that I think I would need to dive in multiple times. I'm still going to go through the lyrics, and if I pick up on what the song is about, perhaps I will point out my opinion what it's about. So far, I don't have any clue. From a music standpoint, yes, I can see right away what you guys are talking about. This is very, if it's anything like this throughout the whole album, this is going to be very easy for me to get into. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so on board with this. I really like this. I don't know if it seems like a song about control. Um, it's hard, honestly, because there's a lot of emotions going on as I'm listening to the music, and I'm trying to read a lot of the lyrics, which are not, like I said, very linear. But it seems to be a song about control. Or that you are being controlled. Like there's an almost like the Matrix here. There's an illusion in front of you. But I could be I'm probably totally wrong. But what I am digging is obviously the groove of Meshuggah that you guys explained to me is there, and I can hear it. But the idea for me is I can get into it easier, at least with this song. I don't know what the other ones are going to present for me, and I know how Bleed is in a more traditional kind of sound. But so far, again, yeah, this is the album I probably should have started with, as I can tell. Combustion is impressing me. Let me put a like on this one right away. Yeah, this was fucking kick-ass. We got the second song. I'm gonna rewind and make sure I kind of started from the beginning. We're gonna start with the Electric Red. Got the lyrics again by me. The intensity. I've always said on this channel, I like really aggressive music. I like Nile, I like Combustion, I like death metal, black metal. I thrive on the really heavy stuff. But I had to get into it. I remember for a long time, I just couldn't get into black metal because I couldn't get into that kind of blast beat, super fast drumming, and I just had my problems. I just couldn't understand it. I mean, shit, I remember when Sepultura Rise sounded like the devil to me, right? And as time went by, as I progressed from one band to the other, and I've grown and understood and liked, I just saw my horizons expand, even in softer bands, like Green Carnation is an example I use a lot, with that one album that they have, Light of Day, Day of Darkness. It's an hour-long song, and I didn't have the patience for it until my brother really reinforced me to try it. I'll even say Blasphemy. I didn't like Iron Maiden for a long time because I thought their songs were too long. And again, I fought through it because there's some things that are undeniably good, and there's some things you can argue that they're good. And I think that something like Iron Maiden is undeniably good. And Meshuggah is just, there's too much around them from people that I respect have talked about them, that for me, I have to check it out. So let's get into Electric Red. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to just turn down a little bit because it's a little bit loud in my ear here. Okay. Okay, this, I'm sorry, maybe I definitely fucked up on the first song's lyrics. This is definitely not just about control, but the idea of conformity and just agreeing to everything that's given to you. I mean, it could be very much a criticism of something like a socialist or a communist kind of a country, just agreeing with what everything that the system puts out and it needs for you to be. and that you have no self-thought, free-thinking thought. Puppets, right? Fine-tuned submissive drones. So that's kind of, I'm understanding kind of where they're going with this song. So perhaps maybe I made a mistake on the first one where I didn't really understand here. Here it's a little bit more, I don't know, just the kind of the point of the song hit me a little bit faster. Yeah, almost like, again, a criticism of saying that we forget our past. We're so quickly to forget our past, what was been done to us, right? We rags to wipe away our blooded trails. So I guess that's, again, a criticism of the system, of what is done, and we're so quick to forget what has been. Again, could be also a criticism of the United States, for example, with slavery, that we're quickly to forget that what's happened. You know, just an example to use. There's many examples in history that you can take from. I mean, in general, most countries are built on very violent histories. Russia, my homeland, is no different. I like this too, but this has that more traditional, difficult to find the catch of the rhythm because they're purposely disrupting it. And it's both being disrupted with the guitars and the drums, and of course the bass. But this is just easy for me to get into. Even if I didn't listen to Catch 33 to first understand kind of how weird they can get. They're so good at switching from one rhythm to the other, or it's the same kind of rhythm to the song, but played completely differently. And these switches, I understand what you're talking about, the groove, how you get into the groove of what's going on. They're so good at it. They just go from one to the other so effortlessly. And I think it's just a testament to good musicians to understand, first of all, music theory, how to play music, and just have the creativity to come up with something like that. I think the name, people say gent, right, is the genre. I always like math metal more because it really feels like a mathematical equation. Yeah, right. We're lied to. We're not told the truth, and we just give in and don't fight back anymore. Like the idea of learned helplessness. If you guys know the theory, it was done first with Pavlov and dogs, where he would have two cages. One would be electrocuting the dog, one wasn't. So the dog would be forced to jump from one cage to the other. And of course, the dog wants to stay away from pain, so he would jump from one cage to the other back and forth, right? Until he started electrocuting both of the cages, and the dog would jump from one, electrocuted, jump to the other, and eventually the dog would give up and just sit there and take the pain. And there was the theory of learned helplessness, that at some point people just give up in their position and don't see the hope for themselves always. That was kind of the idea of it, right? And I think there's a lot of that in the lyrics here, which I think that the lyrics are kind of very sharp and hitting, like sharp edge, almost like Max Cavalera from Sepultura. They just to the point and they hit you right in the head. Yeah, this was fucking dope. I do like Combustion more, but both of these songs so far are really dope. And now we're going into Bleed. That's the only song that I do know on this album. So I don't know if it's very useful. I mean, I've listened to it like since I started doing Meshuggah reactions, especially trying to understand what they're all about. I kind of got into the song. I must have listened to it like 20, 30 times. So I think I'm going to skip it because I'm really kind of very familiar with it. So I'm going to go to Lethargica. And I know the Bleed is about a brain hemorrhage, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to explain that to my wife. It was very interesting. She's like, what the fuck? There's a song about a brain hemorrhage? I'm like, ugh, there's a point to it. But anywho, we're going to go to Lethargica and go to that one next. Okay, he talks about the void. We'll see what the void is, but obviously it's not very nice. But musically, it almost feels like every song sounds very similar, but it's not. And it takes like a keen ear to kind of really get into it and listen. So if you see me kind of phase out a little bit with the lyrics, it's in favor of the music. Because obviously, I don't think you can get everything at the first time. It's just impossible. You have to listen to things multiple times to really get into it. That's why I think different fans go to different things first. Some people might go to certain drum parts or the music in general. Another one might dive into lyrics and vocals first. And repeat listens, you really just get the whole thing together. I mean, if they take 2 to 3 years to write an album, what makes you think you're going to hear it on one listen just like that and get it? That's why I get really like just upset with some people when they watch movies like, I get this movie, what it's about. Like, I don't think you did. I think you kind of half paid attention and really didn't get it, unless the idea of the movie is just really, really simple, you know? I'm talking about the more like philosophical movies. Okay, let's keep going. So far, again, really liking this album. I really like that kind of melody, like that creepy melody on top of the guitars was really, really nice. They really can kind of fine tune the mood that they want you to feel. That's kind of almost like you're in outer space. And I guess you can take this very literally, right? That the universe doesn't have morals. It doesn't have a good or a bad. It's unrelenting. It's harsh. It is what it is. And through this kind of, like they say, homicidal God design, is how things are also created, but they also get away. Even nature, look at nature with animals. People tend to go like, oh, I felt bad for that antelope. But yes, the lion has to kill the antelope to eat, and that's how they survive. The fight to survive is harsh. It's not what we as humans kind of created with society is not the natural order of things the way we were born. It's something humans evolved into, kind of shaping their own reality. At least that's what I think. Yeah, that's a really nice switch, this kind of like really creepy melody. I love this. So far, this is my second favorite song, Lethargica. Yeah, if Meshuggah is this is kind of the more typical Meshuggah, I can so get into it. In a sense, also like I have to be also forward where it's like I'm really enjoying it and really liking it, but I think it's also going to take me time whether I reach the heights of some of you guys the way you talk about them. I just feel this kind of there's nobody like them, and they're the only one who gives me this feeling kind of a vibe. I don't think I'm there yet. I'm just really enjoying the moment. I'm also a person who lives in the moment. I really enjoy what I'm hearing now. I'm not thinking about how I felt about it yesterday or how I'm going to feel about it tomorrow. I'm so in the moment of what's going on. And I think I've gotten pretty good also explaining what's going on in my head in the moment. It's just, yeah, it's groovy. It's fucking groovy. It gets you into a mood. They just see me like kind of like stank face, this head banging. Like, I would want to mosh to this like a motherfucker. Again, every transition is just so fucking good. It fits so well, and again, it creates just different moods. Yeah, the Combustion and Lethargica, I really, really like. Electrica Red, I like, or Electric Red, I liked, but not as much as the two, and Bleed, obviously, I really like so far. Lyrically, I don't know if it's going to be a band I'll really dive into lyrically, to be honest. I honestly, there's a very few bands. There's some cheesy bands that I like Manowar, just because how cheeseball it is, and they're just kind of very easy to shout out and kind of go along with them. Or something that you just want to shout out when you're in a concert, like Iron Maiden, right? Metallica has some always good lyrics. I don't give a shit what anybody says. They had always good lyrics. This, I don't know. I'm so far connecting with the music very much. And vocal style, he has an aggression in his voice that I really like. You know what I also find interesting, sorry to pause again, is the cover. What looks like spirituality, right? There's probably, I don't know what Obzen means, but a sense of spirituality, but it's hand covered in blood, so that there's kind of inner peace, inner enlightenment at the cost of blood, or it has to be done through blood, or it's just like finding peace in a world that's full of blood. There's kind of a lot of ways I think we can interpret it. I don't know what the musician said, right? I think even whatever musicians say the song is about, once it leaves the musician's hands, it also becomes this free thing where we can interpret it any way that we want. And I think you should as well. A good piece of art is usually like that. If it's just like trying to ram your head into this is what you should believe, in my opinion, is usually not a good thing. I don't care if it's an idea of a leftist idea, a rightist idea, a midist idea, whatever it is. I think it's best to present an interesting point of view and let you form your own conclusions. At least that's what I think it should be like, and kind of I feel like it's been greatly forgotten. Now let's get into the song of Obzen. So I guess I was kind of on point with the cover, reading the lyrics here. A state of perfection, immersed in filth, equilibrium obtained. Yeah, I think there's a lot of criticism of the modern world where we talk about all the things like, you know, we should be enlightened, or at the very least we try to be enlightened, we try to be better, but whether it be the people themselves saying things like you should be one way, or like, let's say, a religious kind of some kind of religious institution, or somebody else will talk about the way you should be, but underneath themselves they're not like that themselves. It's actually a belief system that is false and doesn't follow its own, you know, instruction, kind of say that we're all kind of hypocrites. Again, that's kind of how I'm taking it. And again, war and pain is God. I mean, also the positive out of it, something my grandmother always told me since I was a kid: nothing worthwhile in this world is ever gotten in comfort. It's through pain, it's through suffering, it's through hardship that you learn and persevere to get things that you want. Nothing is just going to be given to you on a silver platter. And I think it's a good way to live by, because no human being ever, or animal alive, gets things in comfort. You know, there is this beautiful yin yang between violence and pain and suffering and achieving enlightenment and all these kinds of things. So it's another way of looking at it. I love this too. This song is really fun. Every single song is super good. And I think what I'm getting into is that chugging guitar with the drums, that creating that rhythm that you guys talked about. I'm totally getting in the groove. For example, you know, obviously I like my riffs like in thrash metal or melodic death metal, where they can be melodic, they can be ever changing. Whereas there is a monotony in this, a very purposeful monotony in this music that has subtle changes, and it once you get into that kind of groove, you kind of transport it to a different place. Like I said, I want to mosh to this so bad, and there's just this kind of mechanical pure aggression that I can't explain about this band that I am really liking so far with this album. And the drums, like I'm so far enjoying everything. I can't pick out, for example, the way you guys pick out drums or guitars or anything like that. To me, it's just the whole thing in unison just works like a tank going through a street. It just works. Fucking killer switch. I love this switch, and it's something I'm starting to notice with lyrics. And with music, there is no traditional writing, like traditional way of writing music for them. At least I'm not catching it, where there's like that bridge, you got your main riff or a couple of riffs until you come back to the bridge. You have to have the chorus line, blah blah blah, like the formulaic thing that we're used to in heavy metal. There is just this one this start on a dot here, and it's a continuous line moving through the song. Even the lyrics, if there's anything that's repeated, it's repeated in a different way. It's not repeated in a chorus kind of a way. So there's never a repetition of things, but there's a repetition of riffs. It's like it's an interesting formula that they've created, and that's the way I am interpreting it. Obviously, I can make mistakes. It's my first time, well, not first time listening to the band, but the first time listening to this album, trying to kind of get into their philosophy of this album that they've kind of devised here. Also, something I just wanted to, like, kind of the last couple of lines I really found interesting. I had to reread them. The grime of contempt and degeneration, sorry. Sticky, foul, and pungent. The sentiment of creation. We flourish in this blood-red soil. Again, I interpret it as, despite, our world is created in lots of horror and war and pain and all these things, but at the same time, from it we rise from the ashes and rose. I mean, look at any World War II, how it destroyed Europe and Russia, and they rebuilt stronger, right? They rebuilt their buildings with new structures. The United States, who was coming off of the Depression and completely destroyed the economy, but yet this horrible thing like the war actually made the United States the great country that it became in terms of financially, because of how well they rose selling munitions and military tech. So it's like there's this kind of a vicious circle of things, the way it works, that the idea that we need war for progress. So there's a lot of really interesting philosophical ideas in this that you can interpret maybe thousands of different ways. Definitely, it doesn't spell things out for you. It leaves a lot to the imagination, like a good book. Fucking awesome. Guys, I haven't cursed this much. I haven't cursed this much in a long time because I'm really, really, really enjoying this. I didn't think I was gonna like it this much. I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't think I was gonna like it this much. I'm just really loving this. Let's go. This Spiteful Snake. Yeah, the lyrics here are very kind of interesting. I mean, the first couple of lines I can really relate to as a person. Reality, the spiteful snake, rearing its ugly head, venom dripping from its grin as it tosses yet another obstacle in our way. But we need that. I believe it's like I'm not sure if the lyrics are gonna kind of come to it, but we need this struggle. That's what makes us stronger, mentally stronger, physically stronger. Imagine if everything was just like easy. But it definitely is. Reality brings you to hard places that sometimes we can't get over on our own. And I mean, even with the YouTube guys, creating a YouTube channel, I had a lot of insecurities. It's my third YouTube channel I've created. I did one around parkour that I've done and wasn't very successful. I'm a personal trainer. I did that one, and I just didn't like the fitness environment on YouTube. It was just a bunch of dick measuring going on. I created a gaming one where I just didn't have time. I can't play 40-hour games in a week and then review them or something like that. And music happened to be the thing that just works perfectly, because I can create a reaction or two, a couple times a day or something like that. It's short. It's something I absolutely love. I love music more than anything. It's one of the most important things to me. I don't want to get like too much into it, but I can very relate to these lines. Yeah, you know what it is though with this band, that it's hard to be listening to them all the time. They are fucking depressing in their lyrics, because it's just like a hammer hitting you on the head, because these are true things, and for some people they never climb out of this. They get defeated by life, and nothing really happens for them. Whether because their self-doubt gets the better of them, or their situation gets the better of them. They never see the light to things. And there's people like David Goggins who climbed out of like deep holes. But let's be honest, he's one in a million. Most people get defeated by it. Depression, suicides, all these kinds of things. Just they're so hopeless. We see all these successful people, but really we don't think about how many people fail. Even to create something like, I failed multiple times in my career to get to a personal trainer that became successful. I failed multiple times in the channel. I was stubborn enough to keep going, but some people it could be hard for whatever situation they have. And it's just the way they write the lyrics is fucking hard hitting. But from a song perspective, I gotta say it's not my favorite. Just not this one. I'm kind of not connecting with 100 fully. But I do appreciate the lyrics a lot, actually. Okay, this second part was really good. Perhaps on the second listen, because maybe I got distracted by lyrics, was really, really good. It was just really, again, groovy. And just no ceremony, boom, just the way it ends. The next song is Pineal Gland Optics. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know what the fuck that means, but let's get into it. I should expand my vocabulary. Okay, so I'm guessing it has to do some kind of mental illness, right? Perhaps maybe somebody suffering schizophrenia, or was it the dementia? The ones where you see visions, or I think they're all under the umbrella of schizophrenia, right? Yeah. They're so good at creating this kind of a mood, that I have to say. They maintain this kind of like, it's kind of giving me a little bit of like goosebumps. Yeah, this just kind of unrelenting aggression, and it kind of brings out a lot of negative emotions. And some people, I guess, can see it as just the negative part, but I think Slayer said it best that, they criticized them for their song Angel of Death about Dr. Death. And they said, look, some people make songs about love and the positive things in life. We make songs about negative lives and Jeffrey Dahmer and all these things. And they're equally as important. You can't forget the other side of yourself. We're not just happy thoughts and wonderful feelings. Sometimes getting these negative, vile emotions out of you are extremely important to being a healthy, psychologically stable human being. I don't even know where to pause. I know this is kind of considered like a solo, but I don't even know where to pause to talk about it. This song, I'm definitely not. Again, maybe it's going to change within the next minutes, but the 350 minutes that I've listened to it, I'm not into it. Not because it's bad. It's just maybe on repeat listens it will get me. I'm very often I don't like a full album. It's been very rare. I think Iron Maiden albums, usually I like the whole album. Megadeth, like Rust in Peace or Painkiller. You know, there's certain albums that are just beginning to the end are really amazing and you connect with. Some that grow on you over time. But this particular song, the groove of it, I can get the groove, but I am just like it's alright. Kind of, you know, that's kind of the feeling I'm left with. The songs I was checking out, like Combustion, again, Bleed, Lethargica, Obzen, they just had something to them that just throughout the song was just unrelentingly not letting go. The Spiteful Snake has its moments where it kind of purposely kind of gets you into a more calm state or calmer state, and then it kind of picks up on this rhythm. This one, I don't know, so far I've been connected with. Okay, for the sake of having the reaction to be a little snappier, I know it's going to just fade away, so I'm going to stop there. And we're going to go to the song Pravus. Let's go with it. So far, I like this. Alright, and it's gonna kick in really nice, I know it. I feel it. Yeah, that's the kind of style I like from the way it just kind of, it's so unrelenting and it kind of kicks in. It has really interesting kind of rhythms to the song with that guitar and drums at the same time. They're just like, to me, it always seems like things shouldn't mix, but somehow they have a rhythm together. Of course, I'm not a musician, so I can't break it down in my head like, oh, this is what they did, oh, this is really complex. You just kind of have this kind of intuition about it. I mean, if I'm taking the first couple of lines from what I'm seeing, it's obviously a criticism of the military and the way it's kind of, you know, programming their soldiers, armed with distorted belief of what they're doing things that's right. You know, obviously there's a lot of metaphors to automatic fire or guns, you know, and malignancy rounds, automatic fire, sweeping wounds of shattered souls, soldiers coming back with PTSD. That's how I'm seeing it. Again, I could be wrong, but let's keep going. Yeah, I think I'm on point with the military kind of a thing. I think so. There's just a couple of repulsive belligerents shot from toxic minds, blatant disregard for all but self, proudly flaunting the depravity of a race condemned, Malaline. Again, it's definitely this war elements that they're talking about here. Musically, this song I really like. It's, again, very easy for me to get into. I really like the change-ups in the song. I mean, I kind of going to say the same things about a lot of these songs because they do have a lot of things in common. They do the same things. For me, the comparison I can make to is like Bolt Thrower. Jesus Christ, I plug them in every single video. Bolt Thrower has this simplicity in their music, which there's so many more death metal bands that are more technical than they are. But just how they construct the grooves and the sound of their albums that nobody can recreate. I've never heard anybody recreate the sound of Bolt Thrower. That just makes them so special to me. And I can say the same thing about this particular album. There's a lot of that very unique way of writing songs and the way it sounds, that metallic sound. Perhaps maybe Fear Factory I can compare them to, or some Ministry that there's I can hear here as well. But in generally speaking, this is quite different from everything else that you're going to hear. Can we take a minute and see how good of a fucking vocalist he is? I love his growls. Him and Randy from Lamb of God, I love their growls. There's just so much emotion in it. I mean, this could also be actually perhaps ideologically targeted. You know, maybe somebody like ISIS. You know, when there's like there's a certain ideology where people will go ahead and kind of like, you know, die for their cause, which even the Quran would never advocate something like that, you know, or something like at homegrown, like, you know, if we're talking about school shootings, we're talking about neo-Nazis attacking people, like things are maybe like ideologically based, and how they create this kind of hate and violence around, because their view has been shifted and kind of and manipulated. That's another kind of, you know, reading a little bit more into the lyrics. There's kind of many different ways to take it. And again, I think with the idea of spirituality that you see in the cover, I think that all kind of ties into each other. Alright, yeah, that was a kick-ass song. So far, yeah, like I would have to say there's two songs that I didn't really connect with, or they were okay for me, but so far everything else has been really, really good. And now I know this has been also requested by you guys, dancers, to a discordant system. So we're gonna do that last song, and then I'll give kind of a short review of the album, what I think about it. But I think you guys can kind of start understanding my viewpoint at this point. Holy fuck, there's a lot of lyrics. Weird beginning. Let me just rewind it just a little bit so I make sure I don't miss it. Weird beginning, kind of interesting, creepy. It sounds very like kind of alien, foreign. Let's see. Yeah, they have a lot of like, you know, with Meshuggah, it's something that's been missing a lot in heavy metal. Is I think heavy metal and the origins of hip hop both are based in rebellion, and rebellion to the norm, rebellion to the system, rebellion to what's going on, protest, almost like the hippie era as well, and just in a more aggressive kind of fashion. And a lot of heavy metal kind of strayed away from it and doesn't really have a lot to say, I would say. Even the ones that do kind of say it in a very simplistic way. Something like when Max Cavalera had a total protest to certain spiritual or events or something, I think that was going on, or somebody like Megadeth in their heyday. Like now their lyrics are kind of, more tame. But man, he had Peace Sells But Who's Buying, things of that sort. It just has impact. And their lyrics have that same sort of impact for me, which is kind of very surprising, even if I'm misunderstanding some of it probably as well. I love the vocal and the music change-ups. Oh, it goes to this kind of creepy low place, and it just goes up right away. Really fucking dope. I'm really, really, really connecting with this song as well. And I feel like it's just gonna keep going. I don't see it going away. I'm just really enjoying the direction. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of repeating themes. But okay, so we talked about the lyrics. I kind of understand where they're coming from. Not totally. I think this one I would need to listen to a couple more times. I think I missed a couple parts. But yeah, it seems to be a thematic for this band of this zero repetition. And man, it's a big undertaking for a lot of people to kind of get into this, because there's just, it demands attention, it demands patience, it demands understanding, and it's hard from something that you pay money for, right? You pay money to go see them or see this band or buy their album, and this album is saying like, no, we're not going to appease you. We're going to make it harder for you to get into, and you have to work to get into. But if you get into it, I think you're going to be treated to something special. They had to be so sure of their vision. And that's something I'm going to be very respectful about with them. Like, I love this about this band, is that we have a vision for this band, and we are going to go with it 200%. We couldn't care less what anybody else thinks. And I think that's very important, because then this kind of band would never be created. We sometimes don't know what we want. we need to be shown something that we've never heard to be like, whoa, I never knew I wanted this, but I love this. Yeah, man. I want to, because I'm afraid that this is gonna get blocked because see, that's a full album. Man, this is a lot. This is very much a big undertaking. Oh, I have a kitty joining me here, guys. Come here, kitty. Let's continue. Let's keep going. She starts purring. Yeah, this is amazing, guys. Absolutely kick-ass. I know, guys, it's the most metal thing that you've ever seen. I'm like kissing my cat here and petting her while listening to Meshuggah. Yeah, and a nice outro. Okay, yeah. This, if not the best, I think my favorite song has to be either Pravus, Bleed, Lethargica and Dancers to the Discordant System. Those songs are probably my favorite. As for the review of the album, I think you guys can gather yeah, this one I totally get and I'm totally connecting with, and I love what I heard. It was just really, really good. It's a lot of work getting into this band, which is why for many, many years I've kind of completely dismissed them. But I don't think I'll do another album reaction on this challenge because it's a very big undertaking and I wanted to do other album reactions. But I wanted to do it first of all for the fans. I wanted to see a positive reaction, and man, am I happy that I've done this one, because I'm like, for example, I'm gonna go out later today and I'm putting it on repeat again because I want to listen to this album and really get into it even more. There is something special in this band, 100%. I'm starting to see it. The grooves, the music, the feelings, the lyrics, they're very like artists. They're artists in every kind of way. There are, like I said, it's not perfect. I did not like particularly Electric Red and Pineal Gland Optics, even though I like the lyrics of Pineal. But I mean, overall, the songs, it's like one of those things. I have some certain bands, the songs I like a whole lot, and the songs I don't like, I just don't like them. And perhaps when I come back to it in multiple listens, they're gonna connect with me more. But I see myself skipping those songs. I really hope like Colossus and these albums and other albums I'm gonna listen to give me the same kind of feelings, because the feeling I got here it's special. I'm gonna leave it on that, guys, and I'm gonna open up the doorway to you guys, to the more knowledgeable Meshuggah fans, so you can leave your 2 cents here as well and kind of educate me. Maybe perhaps in some of the songs, the lyrics I was wrong, or maybe I said something that was different from somebody else. We can have an interesting conversation. You can let me know what your favorite song is from the album. And on that note, guys, make sure to take care of yourself and keep it metal. And here, like, struggling with the kid, she just wants attention. She just wants attention. Now I'm going to give her a little bit of attention, guys. Take care.